With the removal of the vaccine passport in most provinces in various ways across Canada, we're going to tackle a controversial opinion and question here. Did the people who use the vaccine pass to get into places forfeit any rights, and which ones specifically did they forfeit? Let's dive into this right now. Okay guys, Ryan here with probably a fairly controversial topic here. However, before we get into that, like always, if you can do what these little graphics say here, like, share, subscribe, follow to all my various social media platforms, and like always, especially YouTube, because I'm fairly censored on some platforms, and YouTube tends to help me out a lot more than other ones. So if you guys can subscribe to that one specifically, that would be great. Thank you very much. And without further ado, guys, let's get into this right now. So, as we all know, across Canada, to a various degree, the vaccine passport mandate or requirement has been lifted in various ways, not in every way. But we're going to tackle a few important questions here to ask going forward. And that is the questions surrounding the vaccine passport, the use of it, and the removal of people's rights, or the forfeiting of people's rights that they gave up in exchange for that vaccine pass. Okay, so to kind of save time, right around here, I'm going to be floating various sources of the BC Human Rights Code, as well as some federal information on human rights and medical information across here to save time. So again, if you guys want to read here as we go, that would save me some time, so I don't have to explain everything to you. And we are going to tackle a couple important questions going forward, 4 specifically, okay? So the questions we are going to tackle going forward: what rights did the people who used the pass give away? Do these people deserve the right to medical privacy going forward? Did these people give up any freedoms? And what freedoms did the government take away? Let's tackle this stuff right now, guys. Okay, so let's tackle the first question. The people that used the vaccine pass, whether it's on their cell phone, showed their papers to get into anywhere, even if it's just once, okay? Did they give up any rights whatsoever? Now, first, I want to preface this a little bit. Now, last year and even in 2020, me and someone else made some pamphlets on the BC Human Rights Code right here, okay? And of course, I'll be floating them up at some point in this video. Now, what you guys need to know, first of all, is that the BC Human Rights Code is a law. It is a law. It is legal. And all the information in here was verified by a lawyer and said, yes, it is all correct. So there's no disinformation and there's no misinformation here. But again, this is only for the I don't know if you guys can see it, the BC Human Rights Code only. Now, let's tackle a few points here, and then we will determine if they gave up any of their rights. And of course, this information is extrapolated from the Human Rights Code. It's not verbatim. You're not going to, read the Human Rights Code and see this information. It is extrapolated information from the Human Rights Code. Okay, very important to know that. Stores and companies have a right to refuse service and or entry to anyone, providing that they do not violate any aspect of the applicable Human Rights Code. Stores, employers, and service providers and business owners have a duty under the BC Human Rights Code to accommodate those with a disability until undue hardship. Failure to do so may result in a human rights complaint filed by the individual who was discriminated against. Furthermore, under the BC Human Rights Code, an individual is not required to disclose information about their medical condition or history to an employer, business, or store if requested. There is no legal obligation to provide proof of any medical issues or any medical history to anyone. Now, going forward, it's not about the people that just got, the vaccine. Okay, this is about the vaccine pass. And now that it's removed, did these people who used the vaccine pass to get into anywhere forfeit any rights under at least the BC Human Rights Code? I can't speak for any other rights under any province or any state, because I don't know the rights codes in other provinces or countries. I'm referring to more specifically to the BC one. And if any other province or state or country has a similar code, then it can be, presumably applied here as well. Did they give up any rights? It is my opinion that the only right that they gave up was their right to medical privacy. Obviously, the Human Rights Code is set up to prevent discrimination against age, race, place of origin, creed, belief, gender, all that stuff, right? So they didn't give up any of those rights. They still cannot be discriminated against for those characteristics, okay? So they didn't give up the whole entire Human Rights Code, no. But what they did give up, it is my opinion, that they absolutely gave up their right to medical privacy going forward for the rest of their life. In my opinion, those people don't really have the right now to complain about being discriminated against for medical reasons going forward, because they gave up that right by providing their medical history to, whether it's an employer, to a gym owner, to a restaurant. They should not ever complain again that their rights for medical discrimination have been violated because they gave up that right, and that is my opinion only. So yes, they forfeited that right to medical privacy going forward. I don't really feel that's disputable, and that's all information based on information. That is an opinion based on information extrapolated from the BC Human Rights Code, which is law. All right? Second question now. Do these people deserve the right to medical privacy going forward? It is my opinion that no, they do not deserve that right. Because once you give up your rights or your freedoms, I'm talking more specifically about our rights here. Once you give them up for whatever reason, okay, whatever reason, you now forfeit that right. You don't have that right anymore because you gave it up. Regardless of whether it's because the government says so, or you got coerced into it, you voluntarily gave it up, you were forced to give it up. The bottom line is that the use of that pass, you gave up your medical history, and yes, they do not, in my opinion, deserve that right going forward. They gave it up, they forfeited it, you no longer have that right. Don't complain if you get discriminated against for medical reasons. Again, my opinion. Third question going forward. Did these people give up any freedoms? Okay, so now when I say freedoms, I'm not specifically going to refer to the Charter of Freedoms and Rights, okay? I'm going to talk more about fundamental freedoms. The freedom to, travel, the freedom to go to a gym, the freedom to go anywhere you want willingly, to a restaurant, those types of things, concerts, hockey games, okay? Those types of freedoms, free will, okay? Now, I'm reminded of a person on my Facebook. Now, I'm not going to reference the person's name, obviously, but this person made a post, a good maybe month ago or so, saying, it was a written post on Facebook saying, I have so much freedom. I have the freedom to go to a hockey game. I had the freedom to have a drink. Afterward, I was free enough to go to a pub. And then afterwards, I was free enough to go to a restaurant for a dinner. I am so free. I'm glad I have the freedom to do whatever I want. Wrong. That is an illusion. Okay, they have the illusion that they're free because they can go anywhere they want via using the vaccine pass, whether it be on their phone or their papers. Wrong. They are not free. What that is the government has approved where you are allowed to go. They have deemed where it's acceptable for you to go. The government approved that you can go to a hockey game, that you can go into a restaurant, that you can go into a gym. It's the government's approval, okay? When you give up your medical privacy via the vaccine pass, you have now exchanged your right to medical privacy for the freedoms that you once had that were held hostage by the government, you now exchange those rights to get the freedoms back that you already had. And now you're under the illusion that because you can still go here and there that you're free. Wrong. You can only go to places in which the government approves of you to go. So yes, they gave up, in a sense, those freedoms that they once had because you're only allowed to go where the government allows you to go. Okay? Again, people think up here, they're wrong. They're wrong the way that they think. It is an illusion. Their freedom is an illusion. And the last question we will tackle. What freedoms did the government take away? Okay, so the freedoms that the government took away from us, and again, I'm referring to not the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, but fundamental freedoms, okay? It seems to me that the freedoms that were taken away would be a freedom to travel via airplane within Canada. Okay, it's not a right. Now, again, we have to understand something here. Under, I believe it's Section 6, we do have the right to enter, remain, stay in Canada, the right to pursue a livelihood, you know, the right to pursue a job and everything like that. But it is not a right to travel by air. It is a freedom. Okay, that's crucial to understand that, okay? Look at Section 6, and I'm not talking about what freedoms of the Charter did our government give away. What fundamental freedoms did they take away? It does seem to be that the government has taken away people's freedom to travel via air, okay? And they've also taken away people's freedom, again, that they once had to go to a restaurant, to a bar. They have taken that away. They held all those freedoms hostage in exchange to give up the right to medical privacy. So yes, the government has taken away various freedoms, but again, we're more talking about the people that used the vaccine pass. Did the government take away any of their freedoms? Well, yes, because now, like I said, I don't want to reiterate the same thing over, but the government tells people now where they can go, okay? So yes, the government has taken away fundamental freedoms because of that vaccine pass, okay? The illusion of total freedom is an illusion. When you think about rights and freedoms and what that vaccine pass does, it is my opinion, and through, of course, you know, things that I'm putting up here throughout the video, that yes, we no longer have certain freedoms that we once had, okay? So please, if you guys can share this to as many people as you can, whether they are about rights and freedoms or whether they are not, whether they have used the vaccine pass, whether they have not used the vaccine pass, and hopefully this will get some engagement in their mind as to, you know, their rights, their freedoms. Did they really give this up? Do they really have less freedoms? Do they really have their rights infringed on? Let's get people thinking a little bit more here. So please share this to as many people as you possibly can to create at least a discussion going forward. Okay? So again, if you're on Facebook, you're not going to be able to see these videos, but if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to. If you can click on this video there and then click on this video there, that would be great. It would help me out a lot. Ryan here, thanks for listening, and we'll be back another day to talk about another controversial issue. Thanks, guys.